Hello and welcome to the Gags Tandon Show, post-match Spurs, and I'm joined by the lovely Lola again. Lola, we'll go straight into it. How are you feeling?
I'm furious. I'm absolutely furious. And do you know what the worst thing about it is? I'm not at all surprised. I saw this coming a mile off, an absolute mile off. People were saying to me this morning, oh, how many do you think it'll be? No. I thought if we win the game, it'll be 1-0, 2-1, maybe 3-1 if we got an extra one on the break late. It's just an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And that's not, me being hot on the mic for clicks. That is just a fact. This is one of the worst Tottenham teams there's ever been. And we are the Premier League champions. And we turned in a frankly disgraceful performance in Turkey on Tuesday night and have followed that up here. And I'm beyond disappointment now. I'm just angry.
Sorry, I'm just doing the socials for this because that's how unprofessional I am. But yeah, I cannot argue with a single word. I've been lucky that I've been away for 2 weeks ish, and I've been in a time zone where I can't watch the games live or refuse to watch them at that time live. Don't know how people do it across the world. Respect to them, but I did not miss watching Liverpool for 2 weeks, and that's unheard of for me. Like I crave watching Liverpool all my life, but this period feels like the period of Rodgers at the end, Rafa at the end, Hodgson the whole time.
I think it's worse than Rodgers at the end. I think it's worse. I said to my mum, who I was watching the game with, said at least under Brendan Rodgers, you knew what a Liverpool goal looked like, even at the end. And weirdly, by the time it ended with him, we were actually playing better football than we had at points in the season prior, in the 14-15 season. I think this is as bad and as demotivated as I've ever been as a Liverpool fan, which feels mad because, you look at league position, players we have playing for us. But I'm just going to say it now. I don't really want to watch Liverpool until they get rid of the manager. I think, I don't know if I'll watch on Wednesday night. I might just go out for dinner instead.
You will. That's just your anger speaking. That's your anger speaking. This is the problem with supporting Liverpool is you come back for more. You come back for more pain. Just do a quick super chat. Painful watch. Thank you so much, Aristo. €2. Painful watch. Galatasaray is stronger than Spurs. Yeah, we're probably going out. I mean, would you feel that right now?
Yeah. Where I'm at, right, is I like that Liverpool are a sensible club, and I don't want to ever be, looking at Man United and Chelsea's homework and copying that and thinking that's the right way to go about things. But I think they've harmed us by sticking with the slot thing when it clearly, we all saw the PSV game. By the PSV game, it was clear there was a massive, massive problem. And the rewriting of the summer transfer window in terms of the imbalanced squad and he hasn't got this and he hasn't got that. Liverpool will never have the perfect squad. We're not Manchester City. We don't have unlimited funds. So I think the mistake that they made was sticking with the manager when, however baffling it may be a year after winning the league, it's very clearly gone extremely stale and off track. I personally think the right thing to do is to send him off into the sunset with a big severance package and a big thank you and bring someone who's going to bring morale up for the rest of the season. Otherwise, we run the serious risk of not having Champions League football next season.
I agree. I've been saying it since November, post Forest, and I keep saying that on these shows. There's a point here from Paul. We can't put two good halves together. If we play well the first half, we're always effed in the second half. I'm sick of slot, sick of the excuses, sick of people thinking it's the players and not slot. This is the thing. I saw Cara debating it with himself, on commentary just at the end there, and he kind of went slot side. And that's surprising me because he's like, oh, is it the players or is it slot or is it the makeup of the squad? So he's trying to blame Edwards and Hughes, which they aren't blameless. But he's siding with slot, saying, well, I don't think it's the manager. I mean, which side do you sit on with that? That's weird.
I think the awkward thing is, like, it's not as cut and dried as, like, sometimes you see in other situations at other football clubs. It's a really horrible combination of all of these things. And unfortunately, I think we were asking the same question after PSV, but you can't sack the playing squad. That's not possible. So the only person that you can really meaningfully change is the manager. That's just the nature of football. So I suppose, as much as like Robertson, why didn't he go for the header? Why didn't he go for the header? I don't know what the planning was. Why did Liverpool kind of sit off and not, really come out at home with the crowd behind them and try and kill off the game? All of these questions we don't know the answers to, but the one factor that is possible to change is the manager. So I think it almost doesn't matter. It's just, unfortunately, there's only one person who can really be held responsible.
And I think that leads into Trevor's point here. We are badly coached. Yeah. The really interesting thing actually is that there were all these stats that Slot himself was quoting towards the turn of the year, where he was saying things like, we've got the most open play chances. We created the most open play chances first half of the season. And it's the inverse of it now. Like, we cannot create an open play chance. We can't score from open play anymore. It's really weird how that's turned around. Well, if you were doing that so well and then it was a set pieces, is it one or the other? I don't understand it. Surely that's not how it works. And I flummoxed as to how he can fix it himself. I don't think he can now. I think you can see from some of the players as well, they're fed up.
Yeah.
Like Maka, and someone's put a good one here. Maka's been really bad. But Maka's not a bad player, but he has been really bad. Like, we've seen the good Maka. Why? There's got to be something in there that these players aren't playing well. It's not just.
But also, we were passive. We were passive to start the second half, and actually, Carragher. I don't often enjoy watching Carragher on commentary because he's too. You can tell when it's hurting him when Liverpool are playing badly, and he gets too frustrated. But he was spot on when he said Liverpool sleepwalk through games. I hate to bring it back to Klopp because this is Jurgen Klopp is the past, and it's pointless being like, oh, I wish it was like it was under Klopp. That's not going to happen now. We need to move forward. But under Klopp, every minute of every game was action. And sometimes that Liverpool were on the wrong end of that and we didn't win games. But, you sat right up close to the TV, entertained. And these games just meander by and it's like, oh, Liverpool are playing a game. And I think the issue is, you saw in the course of this game, you saw Liverpool come out. It was very even. Tottenham had their chances. We get ahead through, frankly, a set piece that Vicario has to save. And then second half, the tempo is really flat. And then what changes the game is Spurs upping the tempo. They open up the game. It becomes a basketball match. Liverpool look like they could score. And then the time that Spurs' goal actually comes down is the Storm's already blown itself out. So I look at that and I think that is not a manager that is like, it can't be the players across 90 minutes making mistakes, not being where they need to be. If the game is changing that dramatically in state throughout the 90 minutes, that suggests to me that the manager and the coaching staff don't have the tools to dictate the 90 minutes and win the tactical battle.
No, and I'm just going to share some of the numbers. Actually, I think it would be a good idea to do that if I can just find the right screen. Here we go. Yep. And if we just put ourselves, that works, I think. Oh, here, there you go. I'm just talking through this. We're going to have 63% possession at home, but I think with any team now, we always have majority of possession. It's like you just said, we don't do anything with it. Only 4 shots on target, no big chances against Spurs, none. And Spurs, go on.
Some of that wasn't the manager's fault. Like, for example, let's name some names. This is we're red hot post the match, so let's name some names. Florian Wirtz had a really poor afternoon. There was multiple times when either he had the chance to play someone into a shooting position or he was played into a shooting position himself and just looked incapable of getting the ball on target. So I think there are, I'm sure the XG accounts for this, but I think there were lots of moments where it's like one more pass and it breaks down. And that, in fairness, to the manager, is not his fault.
No, but also some of these players are just coming back from injuries as well. And Wirtz was in red hot form before that injury happened. It's such a shame that we've been struck by these things. I mean, I agree, though, he wasn't good today. But to be honest, who was good today? People were saying Grav was good today, but I didn't think he was.
I think Gakpo had an all right game.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. He was actually okay. I think when he was up front, he wasn't very good. Don't think he did much at all. I think it's when he went to the left, he's actually started playing better. But I thought Rio was good.
But Gags, this is Tottenham. This is Tottenham.
I know.
This is Tottenham. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, none of this should matter. They are appalling. I watched Fulham a couple of weeks ago absolutely play them off the park. You know, it was like Ole stuff. And then Spurs got a lucky goal back from a set piece, and that makes it end 2-1. But it was like Harry Wilson taking the absolute piss out of Tottenham. And I'm just looking at these players that we've assembled at great expense and watching them labour and have no idea how to break down a Tottenham team that has been a soft touch all season. And it's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating, because on days like today, I do not see the pathway to Liverpool limping into a top 5 position. I saw it before because I see the deficiencies with Chelsea, with Man United, with Aston Villa. But days like today, if you can't beat Tottenham where they're at, you know, where I've got Tottenham fans messaging me before the game being like, please be gentle with us, you know, like how do you see us getting top 5 from here?
Only because Villa and Chelsea are dropping, you know, the ball, and we've just got into the top 5 because Chelsea keep losing, you know, and it's kind of like who wants it? It's like kind of like nobody wants that top 5 spot. And it'll be so funny if someone else comes and steals it from those 3 teams instead. And we're super lucky. We're super lucky that Villa and Chelsea have been so bad. You know, we're super lucky, and that we've still got a chance. So, can we get top 5? Yes, I think we can. The problem is that we have to improve. We have to improve, you know, incredibly, and like. You know, I'm not making excuses for injuries. I don't know why someone's coming here so hot and stop acting like we're the only team. No one's acting like we're the only team with injuries. I was just talking about Bertz saying that he's just come back from an injury, that he's not as fit or he's rusty. Didn't say anything about Spurs had no injuries. Spurs did really well today. That's a shame on Liverpool. It's a disgrace on Liverpool that we made them look so good. In fact, they outfought us. Second half, they looked like they should have won it. They deserved the goal.
Yeah. They did. And again, Carragher was right on commentary to say that Liverpool don't have the legs to play a basketball match. And that's even with Spurs' injuries and the players that they had coming off the bench. You know, we just look out on our feet and unable to really control the narrative going into the latter stages of the game. And again, it is complex. It isn't all the manager's fault or the coaching team's fault. But when you look at things like that, when you look at Liverpool's legs falling off into the latter stages of games and all the late goals that we've conceded, then ultimately that does come back to a coaching issue, because it is the job of the coaching team and the fitness team to have the team ready to play in the closing stages of a game. And they don't. And they haven't all season. And it's March. It's mid-March. And it's still a problem. So I think that, you know, the big thing is, we've had so many moments this season where it's been like, right. I remember after the Palace, Galatasaray, Chelsea week, I was like, right, you know what? This has been a week from hell, but it's going to be okay because it's not going to get any worse than that. It can't get any worse than that. Lose to Manchester United at home after the international break. You know what? That was awful, but it's not going to get any worse than that. And all these times that you hit these new low points, we don't have the ability to bounce back, which is why, Gags, I'm just desperate for them to change the manager. I don't know if I'm just shouting into the void here, but I really think that like we're in big trouble if we don't do that.
We have been saying it since November, and people have been like, don't be silly. Don't be silly. You can't do that. Don't be silly. You can't do that. You got to give him a chance here. You've got to make, you know, he just won the league. And I was saying it since the start of the season, he won the league. We thank him for that. But if you can't manage the players and you can't keep them happy, then, and you can't manage egos, like we've seen what's happened with Mo, all those things, then should you really be managing a top flight club? And the points per game and the points, if you look at the points since last February, like just over a year now, we haven't been playing well for a whole year. It's not a new thing. It's not a this season thing. It's a year. But thank you so much for the super chat. Back in the back, on the back of defeats at Bournemouth, Wolves, Galatasaray, along with robbery at Forest. If the board haven't seen he's out of his depth, I don't know what else will convince them. This after the horror run of defeats and draws from earlier. Yeah. I mean, I think, Borough, thank you for the super chat. I think, well, what the problem is that Spurs at home, Wolves away as your last two Premier League games, and you took 1 point. And like when we were coming into this, I think before I was going away, I think we spoke about it, Lola. I said how important this run of games was for us because we had Wolves and Spurs, and getting 6 points here would really have us in a great spot. Now, if you go and have a look at the table, which we can actually do by doing this.
It's hardly changed.
No, I mean, this is the interesting thing. Now, if we just went here and Premier League, and if we add 5 points, where are we? We're level with United.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's a crime. It's a crime because, like, where we were at, you and I spoke after the Forest game where we dogged a 1-0 victory, and thank God, because we needed those points on the board, and we just got through at Sunderland, and we had West Ham at home next, and a little chink of light is opening, and you're like, wow, okay, what's been a really tough season, you can see a way where Liverpool's quality and Liverpool's resolve, having been the champions last season, allows us to limp over the line and into the top 5. And then things come along like Wolves and like today, and you just go, I felt confident about top 5 all season because I thought eventually things will fall into place to an extent that we will be able to create a buffer between us and those teams below us. But week after week, it looks the same.
Would you have booed if you were there?
No, I'd never boo the team.
Yeah. So, but
I might have left. I'm not averse to leaving a game early, let me tell you, and I would have walked out with the Tottenham equaliser.
Wow. Because you knew we just weren't scoring after that.
Yeah, no, I just had no. Sometimes I think the only way is to vote with your feet a bit. And I think one of the most effective things Liverpool fans have ever done is when in the protest about ticket prices against Sunderland, when everybody walked out on 77, we were 2-0 up, and then you know what happened? It was 2-2. I think sometimes that's we are paying customers to watch our team in a game that's supposed to be entertaining. And I don't like to think of it like that because, there's the Bill Shankly quote about football being more than a matter of life and death. But at the end of the day, the most powerful way to show your discontent is to be silent, is to walk away.
That's mental. Spurs outran us 114 to 106 kilometers. That's insane. I totally agree with everything you said, by the way. Today, there was a sign, I think earlier on, LFC Help tweeted out that they were still getting tickets going at the start of the game because people returned them. So
I logged on this morning. There was tickets everywhere, Gags, everywhere.
Yeah. So what you're just saying is exactly what people have done. They've chose to talk with their feet. They've said, we're not going to the game. And there'll be desperate people to go and watch. But after that, are they going to go watch next time? After spending 60 quid, 70 quid, 50 quid, whatever it is, are they going to go watch it again? It's a lot of money in this day and age.
Yeah.
There's shit going on around the world where prices for everything else is going to go up. Everything in our lives is about to be affected by, the cost of living again, outside of our control. And then you're going to go to a football match and watch this.
Yeah.
Are people really going to keep going?
Well, I saw empty seats. That's the thing. I saw empty seats after the equaliser because there's people who just go, I've had enough. And I sympathise with those people because that's how I feel. I feel like, why do I put myself through this? Football, you talk about the cost of living and about life. Football is supposed to be an escape from your life. And look, not everyone can be good. Not everyone can be the kings of Europe and the Premier League. We're privileged to support Liverpool Football Club. Absolutely privileged to have the opportunities that we do to see amazing things. But, it's also just, it's about having a football team that you can identify with, in your life, something that you can sit down of a weekend or of an evening and be like, this is me represented on the pitch. And we always had that. We always had that in the style of football under Klopp. And I know even in the early part of Slot's title winning season, there was people saying, I'm not sure about this. You know, it's a bit sterile. I'm not sure if this is us. But I think take the results out of it for a second. And I do not feel represented by my team at the moment. And, you know, after that match, I could kill half of them with how angry I am. And that's not a reasonable way to be, but and it's also not all their fault. But I just think it's the style of play, it's the manager, it's the individual errors, it's all compounded. And I don't want to watch it at the moment. I don't feel like watching Liverpool.
No, I think Gregory said, just saying to you that they were not booing the players, they're booing Slot. They could be booing anyone. We don't know. You wouldn't know. You're not the one booing. People who are booing will know that. So, and then obviously, Alex says start booing the manager for starters. LFC comes first. Look, whatever you want to do, I think the best way for all the match goers, and some of them are way too loyal to do it, but the only way to make a change, the only way to help this team is to stop going.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that's going to hit Liverpool hard is in the pocket. If the fans tell you booing means nothing, booing, you could boo every game, and those. This is corporate. This is corporate shit. This is the commercial world. Okay, if you boo, but you're there and you paid 70 quid to be there, they don't give a shit. You've got the right to boo, but you paid to boo, so boo. But if you're not there and the seats are empty, that's going to hurt them. So don't care if you say go and boo people. They don't give a shit. You're giving them the money.
Someone said to me this morning that the thing, and this is kind of a depressing indictment of modern football, really, but someone said to me that there was loads of hospitality tickets still available today, and that is the thing. If anything, that will make, you know, forget us, you know, regular fans, you know, who's 70 quid they can live without. They cannot live without, you know, the really big money coming into the football club on a match day. It's as simple as that. But I think it was really striking today. All the hoops, you know, I'm just a regular member with one credit. All the hoops I have to jump through to get to a game, the pre-registration, the ballots, the queuing, all of that. And today it was as simple as tapped the link on my phone and I'm there, and there's tickets everywhere, you know, not just hospitality. I've never seen that before personally. In my time supporting Liverpool.
Henry's disappointed with me. Us. How can you tell people to stop going? Support the team. I'm sorry, mate, but if you want people to keep paying for this with their hard-earned money, and watch that, that's unfair. I feel.
Yeah.
How can you do that, like, to people in this day and age? Watch that.
But it's about FSG, and we have profited as a football club from their risk-averse approach. And like I said, I'm delighted that it's not Todd Bowley running our football club. This isn't me dragging FSG through the mud.
No. They've done a lot of great stuff for us.
We've also suffered for sometimes, you know, they haven't been proactive, and sometimes they've thrown seasons in the bin, like in 2020, 2021, when they signed Kabak and Davis in January. You know, and you know, there's been times when we've not been ambitious enough in our spending. You can't criticize them of that now, but I do think that you can say that you can level at them that they need to break the mold and make a change with the manager in a way that's going to make them uncomfortable and be out of the normal way in which they act, because ultimately FSG do well if Liverpool do well, because that will make them more money, and we run a serious risk of not finishing in the Champions League, which would hurt them the most. So I don't see how they can watch the game today and not be going away and thinking, would it be worth... People have bandied Gerrard's name about, and I'm not totally comfortable with that. Like, I've heard stories of some of the things that happened at Villa, and it doesn't sound massively positive. I think apparently he said to one of their directors, I can get you European football, but not while Ollie Watkins is the striker, which is, I'm not really sure about his credentials, but I do think that there is probably someone in that mold who would come in and lift the football club and lift the fan base and just get us over the line for some of the things that we still need to do this season.
Pratham says, have to give credit to the team and the coach, though. Never thought I would be gaslit by watching football games. Oh my God. Look, I mean, people are debating a little bit, would you support the team? Would you not go? Would you this? But, the money thing, paying to watch that. I think at the end of the day, like you just said, it's the lack of proactiveness is the key for me. From what I've taken from what you said, is that there's been so many times where they've not done enough. Now this summer, even though they spent 450 million, and guess what, everybody, we spent 450 million, but we sold 250 million worth of players as well. So we spent 200 million, which, let's be honest, a lot of clubs can do nowadays. So it wasn't such a big deal like everybody makes it out to be. And yeah, the opposition fans will go and gaslight us by saying 450 million. But we know the truth is that we had to sell 250 of it. So let's not be ignorant to that, right? And therefore, they still had some spare cash or change to go and get another centre-back, go and get a winger that they're moaning about. They could have gone and done it. And guess what? We were all screaming in the summer. The balance ain't there. You need a winger. You need a centre-back. It'll help. It really will.
But it's just going back to the empty seats and to the not going to games thing. Like I would say to the commenters that disagree is, you and I, we're not going to go and start trending slot out on Twitter, because that's not going to do anything. I'm pretty sure the FSG guys are far too savvy to spend time really reading what we think on Twitter. What else can we do? I don't really agree with booing the team or the manager for that matter. So how else do I show to the powers that be that I have reached the end of my tether with this manager? Like, that's a genuine question to people in the chat. What would you do? Because you can feel so powerless as a fan. You can feel, because we don't have any direct lines to any of these people. They're not going to do a referendum on whether the manager should stay. So what else can we do?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, they're watching. They are 100. I mean, I know for a fact that on socials, some people at the club are watching and paying attention to what people write, what people say, and they're not happy with what people write and what people say, because it's not what they want people to say. But unfortunately for them, fan media content out there exists like this, where we're not affiliated with Liverpool Football Club. We don't have to toe any party line, and we will say things that we feel that we want to say. And right now, we feel like saying sack Arne Slot. And that's not going to go down well at Liverpool Football Club, because they don't like to hear that. They want it to be very positive about Arne Slot. They want everyone to be very positive about Arne Slot. Why, I don't know. But they're backing him. That's the fact. They are backing him. We don't know why. We don't know what they see, what goes on behind the scenes, whether they want Mo to go and that saves a 400k a week, and then they can go get 4 other players on 100k a week, or 2 other players, whatever. But they want to change something else. They're blaming something else. They think maybe Curtis Jones and Salah are have too much influence in the squad, because Curtis Jones doesn't get a game. He could have played today, and Dom could have started much further up the pitch. Wirtz could have stayed out of the pitch and played on Wednesday instead. And Curtis could have started right back, or Curtis could have started in midfield. But no, Curtis doesn't get a game. And it's okay. Curtis is not Maradona or Messi. Don't get me wrong. But it's treatment of players is that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just being very honest with you all. I know for a fact that they watch and they listen and they read fan media. And for some reason, they hate it when we are negative about Arne Slot. I don't understand what they expect us to do.
I've seen all through the season, I've seen people go really early on the Slot thing, and my head after PSV was he needs to go, and I cooled down on that, when we had a run of victories, because I expected that we would figure out, that the signings would gel, and we would figure out a style of play. And I saw the quality in terms of the individual players that we have and thought, there must be a way that this team is good enough to get at least Champions League. I understand why they would be unhappy about people being knee-jerk and people being critical for the wrong reasons. But you and I have just had a rounded and detailed conversation about a whole matrix of factors on and off the pitch that have caused this Liverpool team to underperform. And we've even said, or I've said, that it's not all the manager's fault. But the way I see it, what can they do? They simply cannot get rid of all the players, and they're not about to sign 11 new players. So I don't think they have a right to be disappointed. If you're rounded in your criticism and you have grounding in your argument, then there's nothing wrong with calling for the manager's head.
Exactly, because like you said, what else can change right now? All of us, let me tell you, whichever side you sit on, whether you want the manager to stay or want the manager to go, that's okay. That's your opinion, and that's fine. You're allowed it, and you should have an opinion. What we all want is Liverpool to win.
Yeah.
That's the common thing that everybody wants, is Liverpool to win. And what I want everybody to understand is that we believe the manager going might just help Liverpool win. So I don't agree on Gerrard, maybe, but if they can fast track an Alonso in, for example, maybe it will help to start with. He knows Wirtz and Frimpong for one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're only going to be Leone down soon from an injury-wise. Oh, no, Bradley and Leone. Sorry, there'll be two. So 2 defensive people down, because Isak's going to be back soon as well, right, from the following break. So we'll have 5-6 weeks with Isak. Obviously, he's not going to play. I mean, the way Ekitike is playing right now, because he's so tired, getting Isak to playing a half and Ekitike playing a half, literally every single game, 45 each, might just be the way to go to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to get 90 minutes or 60 minutes. They're just not going to be fit enough. Ekitike can't do it. So giving them 45 each might just get us somewhere. And actually, that's just 90 minutes a week. That works out. But and I think might be okay. So, I mean, but we'll only be down 2 players, Lola, by then, really. And if they're still not playing well, we can't really talk about injuries being the problem.
Yeah.
There's other players.
I think because we should seriously talk about who could come in and what type of a profile we're looking for. I personally wouldn't want Alonso to come in now. I think that could be like a Ruben Amorim coming in at Man United in the middle of the season, and there being too much to do and too much to change. I would rather see Kenny is maybe a little bit too old now to be right, but that's the sort of profile that I'm thinking. Is I want it to be someone where the best thing about Liverpool Football Club, and I'm sure everyone in the comments will agree, the best thing about Liverpool Football Club is the unique passion and synergy between the supporters and the team. It always has been, it always will be. It's totally unique, not necessarily in world football, but like in the Premier League, it's pretty unique what we have, this connection. When things are wrong on the pitch, that disconnect feels huge. If we're going to achieve the objectives we want to, which at a minimum is finishing in the top 5, we just need to all stand together. And I think whoever it is needs to be a person just capable of making us stand up taller and be like, right, we are in this together. We are in the trenches together, and we are going to get out together. And so I think it has to be like a legend, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who that would be, but I really have no clue. I get what you're saying with the point of Alonso, but I sometimes think if you actually want to get something out if we sneak past Galatasaray, for example, which I have no confidence of right now, and if it is to have a new manager to come in, you might just get that little spark at the end of the season for a couple of months where you fly. just because players are in a different mode, and then you end up going and winning stuff, like a Champions League or an FA Cup or something, and qualify easily. I mean, that's the difference between making a bad decision or not. The bad decision meaning you do nothing. Burrett's back again with another 400 rupees. Thank you so much. Gags, do you think the ownership structure have their own credibility at stake with Stock continuing? It feels like they don't want to admit they got it wrong, hence by sticking by him in the hope that he gets it right. I do agree that Hughes is being very, very what's the word? Stubborn. Lola with this one. Both of them. They're being stubborn because he's the guy, and obviously they looked amazing last year, didn't they? By signing him and then winning the league, they looked like the dog's bollocks of, football administration guys. And now it's turned its head. And apparently they were we lauded them, all of us. We're all of us, every single one of us. We lauded them because we said, oh, look at the signings. Look at the players they've bought this summer. Oh my God. I mean, it was like we were riding a wave, apart from the Jota tragedy in there, which obviously everybody was down about. But from a footballing perspective, everything was on a high. Then we won 5 games in a row. Everything was on a high. But you can definitely point at Hughes and Edwards and say the summer was bad in the end. Like they didn't cover off some major parts, like getting Gehi. I know Gehi's not done well. He's done okay at City, but I think for us he would have been a good option, and just not paying that extra couple of million in August beforehand, rather than leave it to the last day, was something. Then maybe just going signing a winger, finding one. They didn't do anything for that. They just went, oh, here's Gakpo, here's another 200, here's 200k a week, lad.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. I think the thing with Hughes is you look back at his body of work and you look back at what he did at Bournemouth, and there's obviously a pedigree there. Like, he has done the Bournemouth job. Now, I know it's not only him. I know a lot of it. If you look at Chelsea by comparison, for example, they've got all the bigwigs at Brighton in their setup, and they still can't make it work. Just because you've done a good thing in a certain structure at a club that is really well run doesn't mean you can just transpose that to another club. But I do think he deserves immense credit for that. And by all accounts, it was his decision to, when they stayed up under Gary O'Neill, to get rid of O'Neill and go for Iraola, which was an inspired decision. And I think it was smart in the first season under Slot to not make loads of signings. How much should he be judged for the summer? I don't know, because everybody in football, and that includes all the top journalists, your Henry Winters, your Paul Joyces, your people at The Athletic, were saying Liverpool had won the summer transfer window. And unfortunately, you don't get a trophy for that. But I just don't think this rewriting of history about the squad being unbalanced and the business being incomplete. I know what you mean, by the way, about Gehi. That was frustrating, and the extra winger. But where we were sitting then with the preseason that Rio and Gamoa had, we thought he was going to be used as a legitimate option. And I don't think we quite understood, because we'd seen so little of him, the extent to which Chiesa was not the player that he used to be. So I think it's really, really hard when it comes to apportioning blame to Richard Hughes, because that summer transfer window changes how you feel about it every week based on the contributions of certain players. But I think I don't know who. I would love to know who is responsible for ultimately the manager's position, because I think whoever decided after the PSV game that they weren't going to act is the person who has the metaphorical blood on their hands for this campaign. Because I think if we'd acted then, it was November, there was still a long way to go and a really good chance of turning the season into something special. And in football, more so than in the rest of life, time is money. And we have just pissed 9 months away just like that, because we haven't acted when we should have. So I think whoever it was, whether that was Richard Hughes or someone else that decided that the manager wasn't going to go after PSV, that is the person who I hold most responsible.
Yeah, that would be Hughes and Edwards. That'll 100%. There's no one else. So he has the say. Absolutely. Like Reds just said here. Hughes is the sporting director. He's going to have the say about Slot, and Edwards is probably his boss. So they'll be discussing it all the time. And Slot says he gets backing all the time. Like I just said to you guys, the club hate it when we talk about this topic, and we are so open about saying this manager should have gone back then. They absolutely detest it. So I think we should say it more. I think we should have our voices out there, and you should clip this and you should say, Liverpool, a lot of the fans are thinking the same thing. If you want to make a change and you want to save some of this season, you might not save any of it, but an interim manager might at least get some of these guys going again for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it is, left 2-3 months. And right now, they do not look like they got the legs. They do not look like they want to play for this manager. You do not lose to Wolves away in the last minute and then concede here last minute as well. It's insane. I mean, doing the same thing again and again is the definition of...
I was going to say the same thing. It's the definition of insanity. How can you expect there to be a different result? And earlier in the season, you could reasonably say injuries, fixture congestion, whatever. Pick an excuse. But when it's March, and I think for me, that's why Galatasaray was such a tipping point in terms of how I was feeling about the manager and whether he should go at the end of the season or now, how serious the situation is. It's the 15th of March. It's Mother's Day. It's Tottenham at home. I have very happy memories of this fixture through the years, of the tendrils of spring creeping in, sun on my face, Liverpool playing good football. And I see none of that. And even in our darkest seasons in recent years under Klopp, 22-23 and 2021, by this time, a corner had been turned. And no corner is going to be turned this season. So yeah, if you're watching, Hughes, Edwards, anyone at FSG, the fan base, the position of the fan base couldn't be clearer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just replying to Bud because he's saying there's a super chat pending, but I've already done the last super chat you had, Bud, was this one, and we did touch on it. Yeah, this one.
No, that was the same one.
Yeah, that's the only one. Yeah, so we did discuss it with Gusset Brothers. He must have stepped away. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Again, it's we're agreeing on everything. There's nothing much else to say here. I think it's a disgrace getting 1 point out of those 2 games. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace having 1 point from Wolves away and Spurs at home.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't even remember the West Ham game now. What was the score? Like, it feels
5-2.
like 5-2. I mean,
yeah.
I can't even remember it because it's been so bad since.
But I can tell you, Gags, I was at that game and I left Anfield feeling really deflated, and we scored 5 goals. And people were saying to me, you've got a problem if you watch your team score 5 goals and you can't feel excited. But we scored 5 goals from set pieces and there was no identity. And we're now, 2-3 weeks on from that, and there's still nothing has changed. But I think the most important thing that either of us have said today is the definition of insanity, is to do the same things over and over again and expect different results. And it's not, I wish that I could say to FSG that you don't look weak. You don't look weak if you change the manager.
You don't look weak. You look like you're being proactive about something that looks bad. Like, Taylor, we needed a gaffer 4 months ago, mate, not a month ago. Lola said it. The PSV and the Forest games at home, back-to-back, 3-0, 4-1. It was 4-1, right, PSV?
Yeah.
Is, again, humiliation to I've never felt so low in a year we've just won the league. Those 2 games were just like, wow, these players are giving up.
Yeah.
We had no injuries then either. Everyone was there.
Yeah.
The Isaac injury came after. Like, everyone was there, and it was just like, oh my God. Like we said, today's goal as well, the Dom one, any other keeper in the league would have saved it.
Yeah.
Any other keeper.
Gags, is there any part of you, because I've sort of convinced myself in the course of this conversation that there's a chance that we see a statement either backing the manager or sacking the manager, if not tonight, tomorrow. I do think that
Galatasaray, but I think if we don't qualify for the next round of the Champions League, then you got to scrap the script up there, and You've got one game coming up on the weekend next week. Who have we got on?
It's Brighton, early
Brighton
kickoff.
away. Brighton away, early kickoff, and then you got 2-week gap. If there's a time to change a manager, it's around now.
Yeah.
So you got 2 weeks to just let them come in, have a look at some of the players, go and maybe watch them on the international breaks, have a chat with them on the international breaks, talk to them without, all that, get them back, and then you got City first game back, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So if there's ever a game to be up for, I'm on a bounce. That's the one to reignite a season.
Well, I'm old enough to remember when they sacked Hodgson and the first game in charge for Kenny as interim manager was Man United at home in the Cup. And we lost 1-0 that day, but all the old chants were back on the Kop and we played some good football and gave it everything. And you left that game, even though we'd lost, feeling properly hopeful about the rest of the season. And this was an abysmal Liverpool team by comparison to the riches that we have, on offer in terms of individual talent. What I think is really important to say is that people think that football fans can't live with losing or can't live with dropping points. You can live with dropping points if there's a bigger picture and a bigger plan. And there just isn't. And right now, I could live with it if Liverpool scrapped their way to finishing in the top 5 and scrapped their way to even a defeat at Man City, because I so severely don't recognise what I'm watching on the pitch at the moment.
So we've got a stat here. Liverpool have conceded 8 Premier League goals in the 90th minute or later this season, their most in a single campaign, overtaking 7 in 2010-11. Incredible. If we were comfortably third and we drew, you don't really mind because you're focusing on Galatasaray. That's why he made 5 changes today, right? Because he's focusing on Galatasaray. He's pushing that game over. And he kind of felt like the Chelsea loss is probably giving him some breathing. But really, you've got to take 3 points here, even with the 5 changes, to then have that real breathing space, because it's literally they have to win. And even if you draw, you're still ahead of them. So you get that one game to drop points. But instead, you've just dropped them here instead now. And if you drop another, like Brighton's not going to be easy. It's never easy for us. No. They're going to outrun us. They're going to bully us, I bet you. I think at the end of the day, I honestly feel they won't do anything tomorrow or Tuesday. I think if Galatasaray is negative and maybe Brighton goes bad as well, there might be a chance, Lola. But I think the Galatasaray one, if you go out at that stage of the Champions League, that's going to hurt us financially too, massively. And I think finances matter to Liverpool more than anything. So if you're then not in the Champions League and you're teetering in the Premier League, there's a decision that needs to be made, But the other problem is, are Liverpool being forced to do this because Alonso doesn't want to come until the summer? So Liverpool are like, well, we're going to have to just stick with him. But then you kind of just
do an interim. I would rather they did. Like I said, I'd rather that. I know what you mean, by the way, because I look at Crystal Palace in the last 2 seasons, who've been amazing at basically peaking between this time of year and the end of the season. And there was a time when Glasner came in, when he first came in, I think it was February time, he came in and got them playing amazing football by this period. So look, of course, it's possible that fresh ideas, Frimpong and Wirtz obviously already understanding what he wants them to do, could see something clicking immediately, but I doubt it. And what I would like to lean into, and my argument for saying we do it before Galatasaray, which I know I could be shouting into the wind here. So, but my argument for doing it before then is that if Liverpool are going to beat Galatasaray, we need Anfield at its most vibrant, defiant best, and imagine if it was, okay, for argument's sake, I know I've said that I don't necessarily want it to be him, but imagine Stevie G leading the team out on Wednesday night, how you would feel. You'd feel 10 feet tall. You'd feel like, of course we can bring this back. And everything, from the first big tackle that happens, the first challenge of the game, you would believe and believe more. And I think that is more than anything, more than fixing the more profound problems in the squad, that is what we need.
And that's exactly what it is. Like, I don't agree with Gerrard in a long-term perspective in any way, shape. I don't think he's a good manager, but I think someone just needs to come in and give these guys a G up.
Yeah.
You know, somebody just needs to come in and give him some belief. Someone needs to come in and get the fans going wild. You know, he shows no emotion on the touchline either, does he? Really, like, you know, like Klopp used to actually just get the crowd up by just behaving like Klopp. And I know we can't go back to that. We can't get that again. But that's the type of club we are, though. That's the type of, I know, like, I mean, I guess we had Rafa in the past and Rodgers, and they didn't do that. But is there any, I mean, there's a reason why we were so successful with Klopp. The crowd connected. There was a synergy through everything that hadn't been there before. And I think in this day and age, you need it. You need everyone pulling in the same direction. And unfortunately, Slot has us all at each other's throats.
Yeah.
But I don't see many people in here now saying Slot in. I don't see many people in the chat here saying Slot in. And they have been all season saying, no, Slot has to stay. Slot has to stay. But I
feel like I feel like it brings out almost like inner child in me, because Gerrard was my hero growing up. But like anyone, like Torres, for example, is doing good things in coaching. Albert Riera, another one of that 2009 team, he's just got the Leverkusen job, I think. But he's been doing really well. There are names out there, you know, names that someone could come in and, you know, you can imagine the first press conference, you can imagine what they say pre-match, and you can imagine how it would make you feel. And look, you're right, actually. The malaise at Liverpool has been going on for a year. Absolutely. That is absolutely an important thing to say. All the underlying numbers suggest that. But it's like, I pine for that feeling of excitement when I'm watching my team, that we can beat anyone. You know, I blindly believe in this team no matter what. And of course you get beat. You know, you can't win every football match, but it's that connection. It's 100% that connection. And I would take anybody till the end of the season to give me that feeling again. I crave that feeling again.
Okay. What about this one?
Yeah, I'd do it. Would you?
I mean, Rafa, bloody hell, he'd make us defensive, wouldn't he? At the end of the day.
I think he might be just been sacked by Panathinaikos.
Yeah.
So he's probably
for Legends match. I bet Klopp will get blooming cheered for the Legends match. Mark saying Gerrard and Carroll is interim. I don't think Carroll would. He couldn't just lose his job. He's getting paid way too much at Sky, which is fine. And I think that's what Carroll's best at. What he does is what he's good at, and I think he should stay at Sky. Really, that's he's got that nailed with Gary Neville, and his overlap stuff. That's where they're good at. I don't think he should be coming into football management at all. But yeah, Lola, wow. At the end of the day, I think we've agreed on everything here. There's no debate for us. We both want Slot gone. You want him gone right away. So do I. Do I think you're hoping for something? I don't see it happening. I think there has to be financial peril. I think going out of the Champions League to Galatasaray as well, which is a good draw for us, and then still going out to them would be absolutely, I mean, head loss stuff for fan base. That would be booed massively, I think. And I think that they're also embarrassing, at this point. Losing to Wolves, drawing to Spurs, going out to Galatasaray over 2 legs is embarrassing for this football club after winning the Premier League last year. It's super, super embarrassing. And so for me, I think hopefully that would be enough to make the decision. But we've said this all season and nothing seems to be enough. And
I'm just daydreaming now about legends who could come in and make me feel excited.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Gerrard just came in and brought a whole load of people with him that could do something, and just for 3 months. I mean, it'd be better than this, surely. But and then I don't know. I don't know. Actually, it probably wouldn't be better if I'm honest. I'm just being.
But we've emotional. But the reason that I think it could be is because this is not like the manager has already understood, I think, that if Liverpool are going to win games, they're going to win games by winning on the fine margins. So that's I think prompted the massive improvement in set pieces. We're playing much less open football. We're trying to kind of boil the game down to moments. That's how he's decided he's going to get us over the line. So he's already conceded, really, that the perfect vision that he had for this team of blowing teams away, going 3-0 up and then just controlling the game. He's conceded that that's gone. So it's like, what do we have left? We have left a team with some really talented individuals, and we have the ace in the pack that not everyone else has, which is a fan base that will give you everything if they believe. They will give you absolutely everything, and they will be the 12th man in every cliched sense of the word possible. So I just think, like you said it earlier, what do we have to lose? What do we have to lose? What are we holding on to?
Mark, you're right. That would most likely happen, but you make more money that way. And also, it's not so embarrassing losing to PSG right now, current champions of Europe. So I would take losing to PSG than losing to Galatasaray, and also take an extra 5-6 million. Big difference, Hey, by the way, Zidane, I know a lot of people, because he's achieved so much, but a lot of the players that were at Madrid, that when they come out and talk about Zidane, go, he didn't really do much. That team did it themselves. There was no plan. He just used to be like, yeah, go do this now for a bit, and that's it. It's hilarious how he's done it. That's why he's not going to manage anywhere else. He just had this aura around him, and the players just went and did the shit. So it's really interesting. I mean, obviously they're probably not giving away too much, but yeah. And of course, he barely speaks English, so yeah.
Sami Hyypiä would be a shout. He's managed a bit. I mean, not massively successfully, but I'd definitely go to war for Sami.
Yeah, Sami's a nice guy as well. Sam thinks Isaac can't save this team as he won't be fit until May, probably. Who knows? If he just comes on and scores some goals, mate, for 10, 15, 20 minutes, it might just help us. We need a striker in there to do the business. We're trying to create a little bit more. We've got a bit more width now with Rio and Frimpong at times. And Mo's trying to create more now than he was at the first half of the season. You can see he's at least trying to put the passes in. Having someone like an Isaac in there just to come on for 10 minutes and put something away. Isaac misses chances. Ekitike misses chances far too often for me. He's done well this season, by the way. Still been fantastic. But you can tell he's tiring now. He's never played this many minutes in his life. So, Taylor's saying fans must speak out. Now, we are, dude. We're doing our job. We need the fans in the stadiums to do theirs now. So, yeah, not a great day. Not a great day coming back after 2 weeks away. It's been, to be honest, I didn't even think about Liverpool whilst I was away for 2 weeks. And I missed all the matches because it was 3-4 in the morning and I can't get up for that. I'm too old now to do that. So I literally just got up, looked at the result and went, right, going for a massage, or I'm going to go for a drive.
That's the life.
That's the life. So for 2 weeks, I just did that. But yeah, now we're back. This feels awful. 90th minute, conceding the 90th minute again against a team in the relegation battle, dropping points is a familiar feeling for Liverpool Football Club this season, and one that just, doesn't feel awesome. I'll be talking to Grizz this week. So yeah, we'll find out what he's saying on Friday. We'll find out. Anything else, Lola? We didn't really talk about the game too much because there was nothing to talk about. It was shit. Anything before we go?
Honestly, I think I've said I feel better for having talked about it. I mean, I feel like I've been saying this a lot. Like, been saying this to poor Jack when he's been, giving me therapy sessions after the game as I'm ranting away. But yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say. I think, where I'm at, my head is at that I don't feel like watching this team. And that, it's been a year, Gags. It's been a year, Gags, since I felt really, really excited and emotionally connected to the team, which is really strange to say of a team that won the league. But from a purely footballing sense, I'm just pining for that feeling of excitement and connection with the team. And I just, that's all I want as a fan. The trophies, the amazing days out, you can almost put that to one side because I think that comes along with that feeling of excitement. But I just want to feel connected to the club again, and I hate this feeling of not supporting the manager. It feels awful.
Yep. I thank him for all of the hard work he did last season, and for winning the 20th title. Absolutely fantastic times. We'll never forget him in my life. It was wonderful. That notwithstanding, he has to go.
Yeah.
He has to go. And we can thank him for all that work he did last year, but also feel like this is the time to go now and stop tarnishing it even more, because it is tarnished now. And if you feel like you're going to have to buy more players to turn it around next year, you might just tarnish it even more by making this worse. And to be honest, if you don't go now with some games left where we might not even have enough money to get those players in. So yeah, it's a tough one. But Lola, thank you so much for your time again. We'll probably be here again next week. Well, it'll be 6 days time.
If I'm watching the game.
Yeah, well, you will be. I'm sure you will be. I'm sure you will be. Because the Liverpool fans, we always end up watching the games. But yeah, I know you don't want to, but maybe they win on Wednesday and it pulls you back in a little bit. Who knows? That's what we pray for.
I hope so. I'd rather be wrong than Liverpool win.
Oh my God, absolutely. I'm saying flat out. If he somehow miraculously turns it around and we go and win the Champions League and the FA Cup, hey, I'd love to be wrong. There's no ego in it at all from me and you here. We're saying it as we see it right now in the spot. We can't predict the future. We're not Mystic Meg, you know?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, right now as you see it, he's got to go. He's got to go. And I think that's the overriding feeling. But to anybody who's been in the chat, to everybody, 3,000 people from various on Twitter, on YouTube, all of you that have been watching, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. We're sorry it's not been very positive, but there's not much to be positive about. Please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. We'll be back Wednesday night. I think Lewis normally does Wednesday nights. And then hopefully Lola and I, if she's watching the game, we'll be back on Saturday next week after the Brighton game. And all we can ask for is Liverpool to win. How? I have no clue how they'll do it. But all we can ask for is, please, Liverpool, Wednesday night, give us something to celebrate and get through that next that next round. And maybe we do something with PSG, because maybe against PSG, slot turns into PSG. Who knows? I don't know. But hey, remember last year it was the PSG game that turned it around to go the wrong way. Maybe we need to play PSG to turn it around to go the other way. So it kind of needs to be the reverse. Maybe. Who knows? Sam, very appreciate the comment. Thank you. I had a great holiday, by the way. It was nice to be away from this shit hole. I live in Wolves. So yeah, I shouldn't really be saying that, should I? Telling people where I am in this day and age. It's dangerous. But yeah, it was nice to be away, but it's not so good to be back and jet lagged to hell. It's like now 3 a.m. in where I was. So yeah, I'm feeling tired. But Lola, great to speak to you. Great to see all of you back. And let's just hope Liverpool do us a favour on Wednesday. Give us some joy. But until then, up the Reds.